prepared statement. Then our board president, Dr. Vladovic, will have comment, as well as Mr. Kapiel Perle from United Teachers Los Angeles and Max Arias from SEI 99. After that, we'll be prepared to take any questions you might have. I'll start with my statement. The public health crisis created by the coronavirus is not something any of us could have reasonably expected to happen, and we are in uncharted waters as we work to prevent the spread of the illness. We've been following the guidance of public health experts on how we can keep all who are part of our school community, students, staff, families, and visitors, safe in the midst of a growing health crisis. We're now at a point where the balance has shifted and the appropriate path is to close schools. We're taking this step to keep our school communities safe. Effective Monday, March 16th, we will close all Los Angeles Unified Public Schools for 2 weeks while we evaluate the appropriate path forward. While our school facilities will be closed, plans are in place for students to continue to learn during this time. And we will open 40 family resource centers throughout the community we serve to continue to provide care for children if families need it. This is a difficult but necessary decision as we try to slow the spread of the virus. Los Angeles Unified serves a high-needs population, and our schools provide a social safety net for children. The closing of any school has real consequences beyond the loss of instructional time. This isn't an easy decision and not one which we take lightly. Each student will have a plan they will take home with them today, and additional support will be provided to assist them as they transition to learning in a different way, and our teachers as they transition to teaching in a different way. For some students, it will be to continue the lesson plan and instruction they've already been working on with their classroom teacher. For others, it will be engaging with the curriculum lessons which we and PBS SoCal will be providing. And for some, it'll be a combination of the two. While our special education centers will also close, students and families will continue to have access to services from the regional centers they currently rely on. Our family resource centers will be open on Wednesday, March 18th, and will be staffed weekdays from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. with trained professionals. Children will be able to have a warm meal, engage with their peers, and pursue their different studies, and they'll be safe. We're developing a family resource guide that we'll provide to all of our families before Monday to help answer any questions they might have. At this moment, I want to extend a heartfelt thanks to all of our staff who are working tirelessly to help our students and planning for them to remain connected to the school community. We know the adults on a school campus are an important part of any student's life, and we're going to do our best to try and maintain that connection. All of our employees should rest assured they will be paid during this time, even if they are not directly involved in providing services to students. And to our families, we thank you for your patience and trust as we work together to maintain some sense of normalcy in these difficult times. These next 2 weeks will be difficult, and we are not certain what lies ahead after that. You have my unwavering commitment to do all that we can to help you and your children. We'll do our best to keep you informed, as facts and circumstances may change quite quickly. So we encourage you to stay informed. Check our website, LAUSD.net, regularly. I will post updates on my Twitter at Austin LA Schools, or you may call the following phone hotlines. For families, 213-443-100. For employees, 213-241-2700. We thank you for your support. It's my privilege now to introduce the President of Los Angeles Unified School District's Board of Directors, Dr. Richard Vladovic.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. We're going to ask that maybe each board member would like to make a comment. But just overall, the board supports the superintendent. This wasn't an easy decision. And as we reflected over and over and over again, we felt it was the right decision at the right time. And as we work with children, it's always been our philosophy that it's extraordinary care. These are trying times. Not every answer has been answered or every question has been answered, but we're working through them with the support and our people working very, very hardly, and with our centers that are going to open up. We feel we are making the right decision at this time. This is a crisis in America that we all have to anticipate and work towards finding at least a solution or how to mitigate it. So with that, I would like each of our board members to maybe make a brief comment. With that, I'll turn to my Vice President, Mrs. Goldberg, if she could come up and say a few words.
Probably the most difficult decision any of us on the board have had to make, because it affects so many people, and it affects so many children, and it affects so many people who have jobs that they are fearful of losing if they have child care issues. You do this only when you are in the midst of having uncertainty about the future, because we've had so little testing. When there's not any testing, you don't know how far the spread has been in the community. And rather than wait and see how difficult and how many people are ill, I think most of us have decided that the better thing to do is to try to prevent the spread by reducing the number of people who are in contact with each other who could become ill. And that's really what our decision is. It's probably the hardest thing I think I've ever had to vote on since I've been on the board.
Buenas tardes, soy Mónica García y ahora quisiera informarles que el distrito ha anunciado que las escuelas públicas se cierran empezando el lunes 16 de marzo. Sabemos que esta decisión causa muchas otras decisiones, pero estamos unidos en asegurar que estamos enfocados. Queremos ver todavía más aprendizaje en las hogares, pero también queremos ver una comunidad sana y segura. Segundo, anunciamos que 40 centros de recursos familiares se abrirán el miércoles 18 de marzo. En estos centros vamos a ver alimentos, cuidado de niños e información. Hay muchas preguntas en este momento. Lo que estamos pidiendo ahorita es que haya enfoque en las escuelas donde los directores están organizando trabajo para los jóvenes, y también queremos que todos ustedes, nuestras familias, estén asegurando que están viendo información de qué va a ser el próximo paso. Esta decisión es fuerte, es grande, y sabemos que juntos vamos a poder seguir estos pasos. Gracias a todos los empleados y los aliados que nos están ayudando a tener cuidado de nuestros jóvenes y de tener cuidado de nuestra salud. I'm just grateful for everyone who is working to help kids and families and employees stay safe. This is a challenging decision, but friends, we are learners, and I believe in the people of Los Angeles. Thank you to all.
Good morning, I'm Kelly Gomez. I represent the East San Fernando Valley. As my colleagues have said, this is an extremely difficult decision. We know in LA Unified we serve 85% of families where children are living in poverty, and so our schools are about instruction and academics, but they're about much more that our students receive at school, including safety and child care and meals. I believe at this point we've done everything we can to make sure that our families will be prepared and will be supported with the schools closing. Including opening of the family resource centers, where we will be providing meals and child care to families from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. My office will be open, and we'll be providing more information on the resource centers located in the East San Fernando Valley later today once that information is available. I also want to thank all of our employees, our principals, our teachers, all school staff, all folks in the central office who've been working tirelessly over the last several months, but especially over the last week, to make sure that we're prepared, to make sure that students have instructional materials so that they can continue learning at home, and to make sure that we're supporting our families in this difficult time.
Thank you. I'm Nick Melvoin, board member for District 4 on the west side in the West San Fernando Valley. And I just want to echo the gratitude of my colleagues. The schools may be closed, but the work continues. And I want to commend this group assembled here and all of our employees for the care and thought they've been putting into this response. It's been a surgical decision. And I think there's been a lot of public pressure on all sides to act hastily. And I think we see overreactions, and then we see huge, especially at the federal level, underreactions. As my colleague was saying, when we're a district where nearly 500,000 kids rely on us for 3 meals a day, where parents, many of whom are medical professionals or first responders, have childcare issues, this wasn't an easy decision. It's one we didn't take lightly. I'll reiterate what Ms. Gomez said. On Wednesday, we'll have 40 schools that have been redesignated family resource centers that will be open from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., staffed with a combination of district employees, Red Cross volunteers, and county employees, where students can receive hot meals, where parents can seek child care, again, especially those parents who work in the medical or emergency preparedness fields. We know, as we're trying to flatten this curve, that those are the crucial next few days and weeks, and that those folks, to the extent that we can limit the burden that they feel about childcare, it's better for all of us. More will be coming, and we appreciate everyone's patience. We've been insistent and appreciate the superintendent's lead on this around clear communications to school sites and families, around thinking through these contingencies and making plans as they evolve. I do really want to thank our teachers unions, SEIU, our police union, all of our partners who have been working with schools who have helped us make this decision. It's crises like these that I think show us at our best selves, and this district is coming together around this city. And I think that in our response over the next few days and weeks, we'll set a model for the nation. As the second largest district in the country, we know a lot of eyes are on LA Unified, and so that's why we didn't take this lightly. And I think there's a model here that I hope other cities around the country will look at as we figure out how to support employees, how to contain this virus, but also how to make sure that those who rely on our schools as the social safety net for our kids continue to have that support. We're talking about the public health crisis. We need to talk more about the child poverty crisis, the public education crisis, the underfunding crisis that this just exacerbates. So thank you all, and again, thanks to our dedicated faculty and staff, without whom, of course, we couldn't do any of this.
So we serve the needs of almost 700,000 students across 700 square miles. We provide employment to more than 75,000 people to do that. All of our funding from the state goes to schools. At schools, it's invested in very talented people who provide direct support to our students. We have with us today 2 of our labor partners. This is a decision that we don't make without informing and consultation with our labor partners, because it's important that we understand not only how we do this, but how we do it well, and how those folks we're asking who are on the front lines each day in schools to do the work. So first, it's my privilege to introduce Alex Kapiel Perle, President of United Teachers Los Angeles.
Thank you. All right. Good morning. I hope you're all well. And I want to start out with thanking the district, the superintendent, the school board for this action. This is going to be a plan that rolls out collaboratively, cooperatively, and where we make sure that we're moving forward together. I want to just quickly start off with a comment to our great members, United Teachers Los Angeles, educators and health and human service providers across the city, and all other workers with LA Unified, as well as the parents and the students. This is rough. This is a rough time, and we love you. We support you. Our students, we're going to be with you. You may have anxieties. We're there with you, and we're going to get through this together. All employees, all parents, all students. I want to comment on what this has shown. When we enter a situation as a country, as a city, where we have to choose between 2 unacceptable alternatives, which is choosing either to keep schools open in a dangerous situation or close schools and fear for the lack of a social safety net that schools end up having to provide too much, that's two unacceptable alternatives. What it shows is that this country, this city, this county does not have the social safety net needed. And we don't have the practices in place and the structures in place to support young people or workers, working parents, in the way that we need to. That's what this shows. We can use this as an opportunity to continue to educate and continue to make sure that the school district is moving forward together, as we're going to do. We can also use it as an opportunity to build things for the common good, starting with the state and federal government pressuring employers across the country to not fire any workers. We have hotel workers who are the parents of our students who are facing being fired because of lack of business at hotels or whatever the case may be. The federal government, the state government has a role to play in pressuring employers to make sure that doesn't happen. Those parents are crucial to our students. There's several other things that we outlined last night, and I'll just quickly repeat today in terms of a common good community support set of demands that we should make sure to have in place, not just during a crisis, but every day of every year. Number one, we need to make sure that we have clear protocols of how to remain safe from the virus at home. We've heard a lot of things about being out in public. We need clear protocols about how to remain safe at home. Two, the county, the city, the state, all other partners, the federal government should make sure to provide 15 additional sick days to all workers in Los Angeles County, within LAUSD, outside of LAUSD. That is consistent with the 14-day quarantine. Third, there should be a weekly disaster stipend for working parents so that they can be at home, out of the public, and be with their kids. Fourth, free testing, period, end of story, on coronavirus. Fifth, we should create a network of food and supply, which the district has done incredible work on in a very short period of time. But the district can't do this alone. Too often, we hear about the school's not doing this, the school's not doing that. And it's because we put all of the pressure of poverty, of inequality, of racism, of lack of supplies, we put all that pressure on schools. The district needs help. So food and supply networks, yes, we've got them, but the city and county and others should be stepping up as well. We need free and reliable broadband access and electronic devices for all students. The district, again, doing a notable job on trying to make sure this happens, but we need help. Next, debt forgiveness. There should be no evictions. The city government should play a role in this, county, state, federal. No evictions during this period. There should be suspended rent and mortgage payments, and debt forgiveness. If we really believe what we say every day, which is that home life matters for students and education, then let's get real with it with real policies and not make families go into debt or get evicted during this crisis. That helps students. And that should be for all workers. I'm not just talking about LAUSD workers, all workers. Next, there should be no penalizing of schools for attendance or missed standardized testing. We should make sure to identify and support not just all homeless students, but all homeless people in Los Angeles during this crisis. Again, the district is doing remarkable work with homeless students on this, but we need the help of the city and the county. And finally, we should make sure, as has been mentioned, that our students with disabilities are given all the support needed during this crisis over and above. We look forward to, over the next couple of weeks, thinking about, A, getting through this crisis, and we will. But second, making sure that schools that are returned to are clean. And third, making sure that schools that are returned to have good, solid, educator-led instruction, right? Online learning is always going to be an option, but educators and the human touch at schools is the foundation of public schools and of our society. So in closing, I look forward to collaborating with the district. This move was the right move to make. It was a hard decision, as the board members have said, and we look forward to collaboration and cooperation with the district. But we need these common good demands and community support demands to be met at the federal, state, county, and city level for all workers and all families across Los Angeles. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce Max Arias from SEIU 99. As I mentioned earlier, adults in a school community are more than just the classroom teacher. They're that bus driver who welcomes a student in the morning with a friendly smile, the cafeteria worker provides the warm meal, the custodian who keeps the school safe and clean for all of us to be there. So my privilege to introduce Max Arias from SEIU 99.
Good morning, everybody. Buenos dias. We represent, as you know, classified employees in LAUSD. Superintendent just outlined what our members do. First, we really want to commend and thank the district on the way that they are handling this crisis with regards to school closures. I know it is a decision that has not been taken lightly, as stated before by many that have been spoken here. As schools are actually probably the last rung of the safety net, which is currently being unraveled by the federal government, which we do need to push back on. Our members have been working with the district. They have been cleaning, making sure surfaces are clean, making sure bathrooms are open, making sure that, you know, everything is in a clean environment so that the infection doesn't transmit, the virus doesn't transmit. They have been cooking, making sure the areas are clean. They have been cleaning the buses, making sure they transport children in a safe environment. And they are ready to continue to work as the schools close and making sure that these schools are also clean. So they, and as well, we are ready, our members are ready to commit to support the district in making sure that all these community centers are successful. Our members tend to live in the communities in which they work. So it is also their families that are being impacted by this. So we are ready to support our communities 100%. And I would like to say some things in Spanish. Buenos días, yo soy Max Arias. Nosotros representamos a los trabajadores que limpian los buses, manejan los camiones, que reparten la comida, que le dan de comer a la gente. Y los trabajadores han estado orgullosos de apoyar al distrito en esta crisis. Por cierto, queremos agradecer al Distrito Escolar de Los Ángeles por la manera que están manejando esta crisis en una forma en que la comunidad se vea menos afectada y tenga acceso a los servicios para poder comer y de cuidado infantil, que es algo que afecta a los trabajadores. Nuestros miembros están dispuestos a seguir trabajando durante la crisis, manteniendo las escuelas limpias para cuando regresen los estudiantes y al mismo tiempo apoyando al distrito para que los centros comunitarios sean un éxito. Thank you very much.
Your name, sorry, your name and your last name?
Max Arias, SEIU 99.
Thanks.
So before we open for questions, let me just close on a final note. This is not the end. This is the beginning of a different chapter. Our priority and focus at the moment is to make sure today in schools, students go home prepared to continue to learn, to work tirelessly to make sure that we can open family resource centers throughout the community on Wednesday, and to remind our community we are now in a stage where mitigating the spread of the virus is a responsibility of all of us. The single thing any of us can do is wash our hands and practice good hygiene. Thank you. With that, we'll take any questions.
Do you have active cases in the district?
At this time, we do not. We have noted publicly the nexus of cases with other school districts, some contiguous to ours, the continued rise of community spread in Los Angeles and elsewhere. So as a practical matter, it's a matter of time until which people are identified, but at this moment, we do not have an active case in the district.
Why close schools when kids are still gathering at community centers?
What we have to do is look at the balance between mitigating and reducing the spread in the community. And this is the balance for us. We can control our school environment. As others have referred, this is a collaborative effort with the city and the county and the state. And it is our judgment this is the best thing we can do to keep our school community safe.
Can you help the families out? They want to know about this Family Resource Center. Who
Right.
do they need to call? How do they take advantage of that?
We'll be providing a family resource guide, as I mentioned, before the end of the school day. It will have all of locations, the hours, the services provided. We continue to have actually a tremendous outpouring from the community just since we've announced this, from businesses and philanthropy to help provide more in those resource centers. So there'll be 40 spread throughout the communities we serve, opening 6 a.m. on Wednesday.
The partnership with PBS, I know you said you want that to be a model for
have you and PBS given any type of guidance to other districts in Southern California in case they want to replicate?
So the question is about the resource that we created with PBS, and let me give you a little origin of that, because one of the challenges we have serving a high-needs group of families, more than 80% of our families live in poverty, and not all have access to the most basic of modern technologies at home. They may not have access to the internet. So we sat down with our friends at PBS and said, can we put together rich and deep standards-based content to allow our students to continue to learn? So this is not just watch, this is watch, participate. There will be lesson plans and learning that will be available starting Monday on 3 channels, 3 public broadcast channels, that will also be supported with additional digital materials for those that have one-on-one connectivity.
But is there any guidance for other districts in Southern California?
So for other school districts in California, the CEO of PBS and I have reached out and offered it to other school districts. Several are planning to implement it if they have their own closures, so I think you would expect to see that. We've also had interest from other parts of the country. We think this is the right foundation for those students that we are able to provide continuity of learning on a one-to-one basis. We're going to continue to do that for all. We want to make sure that we have the best possible program in place.
How will the curriculum differ from what KLCS is already offering?
It will be quite different, quite different. So
How will it differ?
it will be, for instance, a geometry class. So you'll see a plan, you'll see instruction, there's a lesson plan attached, and what I do is refer you to PBS, refer you to our website. You'll see additional information. Our students are going home with information. Families will be able to provide it to you before the course of the day.
And Superintendent, excuse me, why the joint announcement with San Diego schools? Why was that necessary? We're used to LA Unified standing alone.
So we believe this is an issue that needs guidance and collaboration at the state level. As many of you know, most of the rules and regulations about public education come from Sacramento. So San Diego and myself, other school districts, we've been talking throughout. We had a convening yesterday to decide or figure out where we were commonly at, and decided that since we had independently reached the same decision, that sharing it with our communities at the same time would give a signal to the state that this is something the state needs to be with us as we pursue not only this chapter, but what comes from here.
Was there a non-LAUSD school affected, and did that have a big part in your decision-making today?
We're not at liberty to disclose what public health authorities share with us because of HIPAA reasons. I would refer you to the public health authorities, but I think you'll see more information coming shortly.
Did that have a part of your decision?
Absolutely.
Do you see any classroom days having to be made up? Have you talked about that?
So what we have said is we are closing schools for the next 2 weeks. We will advise our families and all in the school community over the course of that time what comes next. We don't have a crystal ball. Will there be more or fewer cases of coronavirus identified in the community between now and 2 weeks from now? So what we're doing is providing for the next 2 weeks with a commitment that as we know more, we will keep people informed.
Are charter schools affected? Family centers?
So the question, I'm sorry, let me take that and I'll come back over here. So charter schools, by law, charter schools can determine whether they are open or closed. We have provided along the way all of the guidance we provide to our schools, we provide contemporaneously to charter school partners. You could talk to any of them, the decisions they will make, but they have all the information we have on a real-time basis, just like our traditional public schools do. Sir?
How do you ensure that the family community centers won't, result in any transmissions of the coronavirus?
So we're taking a couple of steps. We will be screening all adults and children who come to them with thermometers like you might see in Singapore, so on the forehead. So we're going to take a additional set of safe practices there. We'll be asking everyone who comes to make sure they wash their hands, practice good hygiene on the way in. Nothing in life is without risk, but we think those additional steps will help.
How much demand do you expect for these family resource centers, and how will you make sure that the neediest kids and the kids of first responders and healthcare workers are the ones that have access to it?
So our commitment is to be open to all, open to all.
Can you talk a little bit about the economics behind this decision? Teachers are going to get paid, but you don't get money unless you have the students.
So we made this decision with the interests of our students, our staff, and the families we serve in mind. The economics will work out. We think the right thing for our students and our staff is to take this step. We think the right thing is to make sure everyone who works for us knows that they are protected, and we'll see where the rest sorts itself out. I think with collaboration at the state level, we'll sort out that later.
You will be paying teachers during this time?
Not just teachers, but all those who work, all of our employees will continue to be paid whether or not they're continuing to provide direct support in a school or to a student.
Were
We
the
think,
teachers asked to give like a 10-day plan or something for the
so
students
what has been worked on in each school for some time now is a 14-day plan, continuity of learning. So each teacher, she or he has a different journey with her students. We respect that. We want the voice of the educator in this. Those plans have been put in place, and every student will go home today with an agreed-upon plan for that classroom teacher, that school leader, and that student.
Is there a plan to get food to the students who aren't using the Family Resource Centers?
Giving food to families outside the Family Resource Centers, we're exploring ways with the county. We have a robust distribution system with our buses. By the way, we're going to be asking the MTA to provide free transit for our students and families so they can better access the resource centers. So we're looking at using the resources we have to do that. For right now, we're focused on making sure that those are opened, they're well served, and that everyone can get to them. So MTA and others have to play a part in making sure the access can be provided.
Superintendent, there's so many moving parts. It's clear that you guys started working on this long ago. How much work went into this, and where do you start, or when do you start working on past that 2-week period?
So thank you for that. Acknowledging people have been working at this for some time. This is not the first disaster of some sort that this school district and those in our schools have had to deal with. This is different. This is uncharted waters. We are planning for all different scenarios, but the most important thing right now is to make sure that students go home today with a clear understanding of how they stay part of the school community and continue to learn as best as possible, that all of our staff know where they should be on Monday, and that we have our resource centers open and well-stocked on Wednesday.
Is it possible that the closures will be extended?
We do not know at this time the duration of closure. What we're saying is for 2 weeks. We will see what happens. The facts and circumstances will tell us.
What are the facts you're going to be looking at to decide whether or not to reopen? What's the criteria?
So this is all predicated on the occurrence of the coronavirus in our community. If the coronavirus were not absent in our community, none of us would be here today. We'd be at schools, we'd be celebrating the work of our classroom teachers and our cafeteria workers and our students, but we're here. So I don't have a crystal ball, I don't think any of us do, as to what the coronavirus will bring us in the days and weeks ahead. As we know more, we will do our best to share with the students and families that we serve, but we don't want to mislead those families with a date certain. I don't think that's something we could responsibly do right now, so we're going to plan for this 2 weeks. I think at that point in time, before 2 weeks have run, we'll have more guidance, and we'll see where we go from there.
Is that information that the students are taking home today going to be provided in Spanish for parents?
English, Spanish to support continuity of learning, and you'll also see in PBS content in English and Spanish.
Alex, can I ask you a question? What's the feeling of your teachers? What are the concerns coming to you? Is the school board doing enough? How are you feeling?
Our members, like Max said about the Local 99 members, and all workers in LAUSD have been working very hard in very trying and anxious times over the last few weeks. But these folks are committed to the job and committed to public schools, and so have been doing amazing things over the last couple of weeks during a trying time. I think right now our members are relieved that this decision has been made and are ready to continue doing what needs to be done to help public schools and help all students and help all families moving forward.
So I think we got time for one more.
We're hearing that there is a student at Larchmont Charter who has a grandmother who tested positive. That campus is on the same campus as an elementary school. They weren't informed of that?
So all of the knowledge about any occurrence or diagnosis comes from the county. So if the county has shared it with you, you know more than we do. When that's shared, we'd expect it to continue to be shared like the county has done. So with that,
Special needs be receiving services during this time?
so our special ed centers will be closed. That support will be provided by the regional service centers that they already receive support from. We've had long consultations with our educators, with our families, and we think that's appropriate, recognizing that many of our students with moderate to severe disabilities are the most challenged physically and physiologically, and we want to make sure that the appropriate distance and the appropriate care is provided. Thank you all very much.